I want to take some time and welcome to the show Deadspin writer Criss Partee. What's up, Criss?
Trey, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Can you hear me, Criss?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
You there, Criss?
I'm right here. You got me? Hold on. I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you. There you go. We got Criss now.
Okay.
So what's up, Criss? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I knew you was gonna be in a good mood today. You know, I know you see what I got on. I wore this just for you. I knew you would be in a good mood today, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wear this for my man Trey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm good though, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. So let's talk some college football first,
Yep.
Criss. And obviously this week, the big news in college football: Nick Saban retires after 17 seasons as the Alabama head coach. And so obviously during his tenure, 7 national championships, 6 with Alabama, 1 with LSU. So what was your reaction to Nick Saban retiring?
I didn't see it coming. I don't think, unless you were within the inner circle, I don't think anyone can truthfully say, oh, I saw this coming. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you just talked about it. They had a good season. They had a really good season, great season even. I mean, they were right there that close away from going back to another national championship against the team that eventually won the national championship. And you'd have to think that had they been able to pull it out against Michigan, they probably go ahead and beat Washington as well. As good as Washington was this year, they probably weren't going to match up with Alabama either. So when I heard the news, I was like, wow, because it felt like he still had something in the tank as far as coaching. But I honestly feel like NIL had something to do with his decision. I really do, because it's no longer going to be a foregone conclusion that everybody, all the top recruits, want to just go to Alabama.
Yeah,
it's going to be about where the money is, right? And we've seen that these last couple of years, first 2-3 years, whatever it is, of NIL. You got other schools getting in the mix, because they might be able to, throw up some money. So, and there's other options, a lot. And then with the transfer portal, there's so many options now for kids. You don't have to go and just, on one hand, people might say, okay, kids don't want to compete, but if you're going to be the 3rd or 4th running back behind a couple different guys at Alabama, but you can play and you have other opportunities, well, then a lot of people are going to seek those out. And I don't really fault kids for doing that.
Yeah. I agree. But it's just crazy because I'm looking at too, Criss, the players that played for Saban. Like I think about Jalen Hurts. I think about Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones at quarterback, at receiver, Julio Jones, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. So many great players who went on to the NFL and had great NFL careers. It's just amazing what he was able to do and the talent. Like I was saying it earlier on the show. I was talking about he had 49 first-round NFL draft picks. The man, what's even crazier is the man only had 29 losses in his career. He had more first-round draft picks than he had losses. That is unbelievable.
I mean, it's one of those runs where you and I, even though we're still pretty young, we probably won't see another run like that in our lifetime.
Agreed.
I mean, it's just what was it? 17 years he's there. And if you want to just take his whole college career into scope, people forget he won a national championship at LSU.
Yes.
Like that's one of the 7. That was the first one of the 7 right there. So this run that he's been on, if you just take, even just Alabama the last 17 years, I mean, at one point before the last couple years, they were pretty much going and winning a national championship every other year on average.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that's just unheard of.
It's unheard of. Agreed. And to your point, Criss, sometimes I'll be having to go back, and I remember this was probably within the last 3 years, man. I had to go back and look at when he won a championship for LSU because I forgot about that one. I forgot because he's
6 or something like that.
Yeah, because he won so much with Alabama, you kind of forget about that first title.
Yeah, and then he won at LSU. He went to the NFL briefly to coach the Dolphins. That didn't work out.
Yep.
Came back, and then, like they say, the rest is just history because he just went on we used the phrase epic run. I think we overuse that sometimes, like people use the word great, but he really had an epic run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also for me, what's crazy is, Chris, the more I think about it, what he was able to do this year, to me, I believe this was probably his best, coaching performance in his 17 years at Alabama. This 2023 Alabama team, they weren't as good this year like they have been in previous years. And for him to get them to the college football playoff, and remember in the SEC championship, they beat Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs hadn't lost in 2 years. They hadn't lost in 2 years, and they lost to Nick Saban and Alabama in the SEC championship. And he gets them to the national championship, and they go to overtime against the Michigan Wolverines, who obviously won, but they were in overtime. They could have won that game, Chris.
They were right there. They were definitely right there. I mean, like I said, epic run. And to speak to the point that you just mentioned there, how this Alabama team was not as good as what we've seen in the past. Yeah, they didn't have the talent this year that we've seen. You know what I mean?
Yes, agreed.
Just over the overall talent. Yeah. So for him to have such a great coaching job, but again, coaching makes up the difference when you don't, obviously they have top talent, but when you may not have as much talent as a Georgia, coaching is going to fill that gap. And the program that he's had in place for damn near 20 years, that's going to help. And the discipline, all these other things you can mention, all that's going to help you overcome when you don't always have the top or upper echelon,
yes,
talent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, so I'm one of those people, Chris, I believe that any individual could be great at their profession, but what makes someone a great person and have great character is when you can create opportunities for others to be successful. And Nick Saban was the true definition of that, because these are former assistants under Nick Saban. Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, Jimbo Fisher, Lane Kiffin, Billy Napier, Dan Lanning, Lance Taylor, Charles Huff, Butch Jones. I mean, it's unbelievable when you think about the coaches who coached under Nick Saban and how he was able to teach them certain things, and they learned things, working under Nick Saban, and they were able to go out and have successful head coaching careers after they left Alabama. It's just unbelievable, man, what he's been able to do for other coaches as well.
It really is. And one thing that you don't hear all the time when we compare all these great coaches, Nick Saban, similar to a Bill Belichick, and even if you go way far back to a Bill Walsh is the coaching tree.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, now, not all of Bill Belichick's assistants were successful head coaches, but he had so many guys come out and still got guys that are getting head coaching opportunities. You know what I mean? Like so many guys off of those trees have gone on to be head coaches, and some have had long tenures, others have not. But it's just amazing to have that many coaches and that much talent in the, in those locker rooms as coaches, not just on the field, but as coaches, that much talent under one guy for however many years. It's amazing.
It's amazing, man. And so for me, I was just saying earlier when I was talking about Nick Saban, when you talk about the story and you talk about the best coaches in football history. So I ain't talking about just NFL or just college. I'm talking about just best coaches in football history, whether it's high school, college, NFL. You got to have Nick Saban top 5, probably even top 3 in that conversation, Chris. Like we're gonna talk about Bill Belichick here shortly, but Nick Saban is in that conversation for top 5 just coaches in football history. Period.
Yeah, he's got to be. Definitely top. After this run, how can you leave him out? He won 7 national titles in 17 years. 6 in 17 at Alabama, and then the other one before at LSU in the beginning there. But how you can't leave him out of that conversation. I mean, we always talk about, can you have the conversation about the sport of football or the sport of college football without this guy? No.
Agreed.
Definitely, when you talk about college football, you can't skip over Nick Saban. You just can't. He's done far too much. Far too much.
Agreed. Now let's transition to the NFL, Chris. As the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick, they agreed to part ways after 24 seasons. And Bill Belichick, he won 6 Super Bowls. His last Super Bowl came in 2018. And so what was your immediate reaction once you heard the news of the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick parting ways?
Well, I mean, this one was the opposite. Now, I don't think anyone was shocked at this. It's safe to say the writing was on the wall. I have some friends that are, from the New England area, Boston area, or they are fans, have been for a long time. Everybody kind of saw this coming, especially after this season. We'd heard the rumors. Initially when you see it, it's like, damn, it really happened. But, if it seems like Bill still wants to coach.
Yeah.
So now we're hearing all these teams pop up to where he might end up. So it's not the same feeling as Nick Saban, because Nick Saban looks like he's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's gone. Now, he could obviously change his mind and want to come back and do something somewhere else in a year or two, but he's also 72 years old himself, I believe, is Nick Saban. So I don't see him sitting out a couple of years and then deciding to come back. You know what I mean? I think he's probably done. I mean, he's done enough. His legacy is solidified. Maybe he could add another couple national titles, but that's not going to change anything for him. And then with Bill Belichick, I believe Bill Belichick still has something to prove, because there's a lot of folks out there that talk about the whole, was it Brady? Was it more Brady? Was it more Belichick? And then with Brady having the success that he had in Tampa, I mean, they won the Super Bowl his first year there. Now, they did have a good roster already. They were basically they needed the right quarterback to come in there and take them to the promised land. But they did it. He got it done. So I really think Bill Belichick wants to prove he can be successful without Tom Brady. He'll probably never talk about that or admit that publicly. But I think that's something that he wants to do, because they made the playoffs that first year without Brady. It wasn't a great season, but they made it. But these last couple of years, it's been rough. I mean, it has been rough. Mac Jones, was not the guy. I mean, we saw that clearly. Mac Jones, at least not under Bill Belichick, he wasn't. Mac Jones is not the guy. So I think Belichick, now, it's vital for him to, make the right decision in where he goes as head coach this time.
Yeah.
Because if he goes somewhere and he's just mediocre for, 3-4 years, there are going to be a lot of people that start to kind of downplay what he was able to accomplish in New England, which I don't think is right, but it's going to happen. It's already happening.
Yeah. Agreed. And so during his tenure in 24 years at being the head coach for the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick went 296-133, won 30 playoff games, won 17 AFC East titles, 9 AFC championships, won 6 Super Bowls.
Wild.
And so obviously, though, Chris, there are other all-time great NFL head coaches. You got Don Shula, you got Andy Reid, Vince Lombardi, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh. The list goes on and on and on. Do you believe that Bill Belichick is the greatest NFL head coach of all time?
It's out of him and Bill Walsh, in my opinion, because the thing about Bill Walsh, he created an offense that teams still run today. Literally more than half the league runs some implementation of the West Coast offense.
Yeah.
That's not hyperbole. That's just fact right there. So you got to mention Bill Walsh. I believe the Niners won 3 of those Super Bowls under Bill Walsh while he was there. I mean, how can you overlook Bill Walsh, right? You just can't. But when it comes to winning and you talk about Super Bowls and that's the ultimate goal, it's hard to look past Bill Belichick. It really is. It's just really hard. I mean, the other guys you mentioned, Don Shula, he was able to win 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He had Dan Marino for 17 years, I believe, and they got to 1. They lost and never got back, and that was Dan Marino's second year in the league. So you mentioned Andy Reid. Andy Reid has 2, but Andy Reid's going to have to win at least 2 more.
At least.
get the 4, and then also probably become the all-time, leader in wins for head coaches. So he's got a ways to go if he wants to pass Bill Belichick as well, or really even Bill Walsh if you want to put it like that. So yeah, we've seen some great head coaches in the NFL, but again, it's tough for me to put anybody past Bill.
Yeah,
the hoodie, as they call him.
Yeah. And another thing too, I think we don't really give Bill enough credit for, Chris, is remember before Tom Brady was great, we didn't really know anything about Tom Brady when he first got into the NFL, and the starting quarterback for the Patriots was Drew Bledsoe. Remember, they had paid Drew Bledsoe a lot of money, and Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback for the team moving forward. And Belichick, he put Brady in a position to be successful, and he inserted him into the starting lineup as their quarterback. And to me, it was kind of controversial, Chris, because the Patriots were paying Bledsoe all that money. They were paying Bledsoe all that money. So you can make a legitimate argument that if it wasn't for Bill Belichick, Tom Brady may have never gotten discovered. To that you say what?
I mean, truth be told, Bill Belichick, and I mean, it's out there, it's been reported, it's been written about, talked about. Bill Belichick was not the biggest fan of Drew Bledsoe. Truth be told, it's almost like he was looking for any reason to move on from Drew Bledsoe. So yeah. Drew Bledsoe, he got hurt. He wasn't just benched; he got hurt. Brady comes in, the team does. Now, Brady, it wasn't like Brady was just killing it, but he wasn't making big mistakes. He was managing the team at that time before he really became the Tom Brady we grew to know and love, right? He was more of a game manager, but he wasn't making the big mistakes. The team was winning. Bledsoe was ready to come back. And, he even played in one of those playoff games that year.
He did. I didn't remember that. I didn't know that.
I forget what it might have been. I can't remember which one exactly, but he did come in because Brady, got hurt briefly. He came in briefly to play for Brady, but they, obviously they went back to Brady, won the Super Bowl, and then they went on to do their dynasty and all those things. But so and another thing I don't think Belichick gets credit for is, like you said, he stuck with Brady. He went with Brady, even against the grain when you had a high-paid first-round number 1 pick in Drew Bledsoe. Not a 6th-round pick or a 5th, for a number 1 pick in Bledsoe. And Bledsoe had already been there for years. They'd gone to a Super Bowl already with Bledsoe as quarterback in against the Packers, against your Packers.
In
96. So they had
96.
They had been there with Bledsoe. But he felt like, it was like Bledsoe's time was pretty much up and he wanted to move on. So that's what happened. And, the rest is history, because here's the thing. If he goes back the other way and sits Brady, who knows if we're sitting here talking about him in the same light? We just don't know.
Agreed. Agreed. But the thing is with Belichick, Chris, you can't talk about the good without the bad. I feel like when you talk about the bad, we got to talk about Deflategate, Spygate. You got to bring that up. When you're talking about the story of Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, you have to bring up Spygate and Deflategate. And also, remember when Tom Brady departed from New England? Tom Brady didn't want to leave New England.
No.
Robert Kraft didn't want Tom Brady to leave New England.
Nope.
Bill Belichick wanted Tom Brady to leave New England. And so after Brady leaves New England, the Patriots record without Tom Brady is 47-57. And it's been 4 years since Brady left. And in those 4 years, they've made the playoffs once. And they got bum rushed by Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in 2021. And so they haven't been the same ever since Tom Brady left. So to me, if you push Tom Brady out the back door, you got to be ready for the criticism that comes your way if your plan doesn't work post Tom Brady. And it didn't work, Chris. It didn't work. So what do you feel about Bill Belichick and his coaching, legacy per se after Tom Brady departed from New England?
Well, I mean, do you see a pattern there? I just told you about the thing with Bledsoe, right? And then you saw pretty much the same thing with Brady as Brady got older. I mean, honestly, he wanted Brady out before Brady was actually out because he wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to replace Brady. So, I mean, we know the Belichick story. And then you mentioned Deflategate and the other gate they had. I mean, or, the spying on teams, filming them, Filmgate, Spygate, whatever you want to call it. I mean, those things are going to affect Brady, but I'm sorry, are going to affect Belichick's legacy. But it feels like people have kind of just overlooked that and let it slide. And it's like, whatever, he's still one of the greatest of all time, because even with the Deflategate thing, they came back out, what was the second half against the Colts, and they did what they needed to do. Right. They got the job done. So that one might be a little more on Brady. Let's be honest. He's the one dealing with the footballs, right? Now, I'm not saying Belichick wasn't, aware of what was happening, but Brady's the one dealing with the football. So that one might be more on him, actually, in my opinion. But Belichick, you can't take away from his legacy, because, here's the thing, man. All these teams are trying to get an advantage.
Agreed.
They just were not good at not getting caught. Patriots got caught multiple times trying to get an advantage. Other teams have been caught, trying to get other advantages as well. It's just not but when you're winning as much as they did win, if it's perceived that you're cheating, it's going to be made a big deal. Look at the Houston Astros in MLB.
Yeah.
Right? The whole sign stealing thing. If they're not winning World Series, then no one cares about that. Guys are stealing signs all the time. It's baseball. All right.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
I'm not, giving it a pass and saying that it's right, but it does happen. But when you win that much and you get caught, then people are going to have something to say about it, of course. But now, I don't think it affects his legacy, really. He's still the greatest NFL coach we've seen.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let's transition, Chris, and let's go to NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. We got some big time matchups, and we're going to start off in Dallas with your Dallas Cowboys and my Green Bay Packers. So,
oh man,
we got to start there. It's the 9-8 Packers versus the 12-5 Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 7 points. It's a 4:30 p.m. kickoff in Dallas. The over/under for this matchup, 50.5. So, Chris, you are a big time Cowboys fan. What are your expectations for Packers Cowboys Sunday?
I'm somebody in this business that keeps it real. I'm not a fanboy, none of that. But the run is over for Green Bay. I'm sorry, Trey. I'm trying to break this to you, my man. But there's no way Green Bay should win this game. Now, that doesn't mean Dallas isn't capable of having one of those games where they just don't show up and nothing. Because we saw a few times this year where it was like they just didn't show up for the game, right? But usually that happens on the road. They've won 18 in a row at home. It's going to be hard to come in there right now with the Packers are a really young team. They
are. Yep.
I was impressed by Jordan Love, and week to week, especially after those first 4 or 5 weeks, you could really see improvement every game. He improved. A lot of people don't even realize he ended the season second in touchdown passes behind Dak.
Yep.
He threw 32. Dak threw 38. He ended second in the league. So, but again, just overall talent, Dallas is one of those teams that is super talented. There's no reason why the Cowboys should lose this game. There really isn't. Now, of course, anything can happen. Yeah. But there's really no reason why they shouldn't lose this game. And I think they will cover that 7 points. That doesn't mean the game can't be close. There's a touchdown, that's still pretty close. But I think they should cover this game, 28-20, somewhere around there, 28-21, somewhere around there. But Cowboys should not lose it. And if they do lose this game, then there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Questions for this team who had a bunch of all-pros, voted on by the players and by the media. Dak is second team all-pro. Like, there's no reason for them to lose this game, but they got to stay focused, though. They can't if they come in and overlook the Packers, they could be in for an upset. Yeah.
And so it's funny, Chris, because I know you're a Cowboys fan, and so obviously, and I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. All week, I've been listening to, sports shows. I listened to Nick Wright on FS1. He said he would be shocked if the Cowboys don't blow out the Packers. I'm listening to so many people who talk football. Everyone, including you, my brother, everyone is counting out my Packers. And I'm sitting there thinking, we get the youngest team in the NFL. Really, the Packers are the youngest team in NFL history to make the playoffs.
Yep, they are that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Love is in his first year starting. And on the flip side, the Cowboys got Dak Prescott, a proven quarterback in the NFL. They got Mike McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning head coach. And they got Micah Parsons on defense, arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. And they have all the pressure, and the Packers have zero pressure. So, honestly, I feel great, Chris. I feel great as we head into the weekend, and it's getting closer. I'm feeling great about my Packers' chances at being able to pull an upset. Because if we win, not only will it be a huge upset, but probably Mike McCarthy will get fired. Let's call a spade a spade. If Mike McCarthy, especially, and it's the thing, Chris, it ain't just about losing. It's who you lost to. That means he would have lost to Matt LaFleur, who replaced him. Remember, Matt LaFleur replaced Mike McCarthy. So you lost to your former team? Like, for me, I think the Cowboys, it ain't really about reaching the Super Bowl. They need to reach the NFC Championship for it to be a successful season. See, the Packers already have had a successful season. Like, at this point, we're playing with house money. You know, if you're at the casino and you win a couple dollars, you up $100, $300, $500, you feel like, man, I already won some money, so I'm feeling great. That's how the Packers are feeling right now. Cowboys, on the flip side, they that person at the casino that they ain't got nothing. They got everything to lose, everything. And they putting a lot of money down. And so I'm gonna be honest. This is the makings of an upset. And if it happens, man, again, I don't know if Mike McCarthy survives. And we got to start asking the question: will Dak Prescott ever lead the Cowboys not to a Super Bowl, but to an NFC Championship game if the Packers can pull off the upset? So I think it's set up for it. But the Cowboys have been the better team throughout the season. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, they're the better team now. I'm not completely counting out the Packers, but, you know, if I'm just keeping it real, I mean, there's no reason, like I said, there's no reason for Dallas to lose this game. Now, and this playoff run here could be a legacy-defining one for Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it. They haven't been able to get to the NFC Championship with him. Now, hell, even before it's been 28 years since they got to the NFC Championship, right? So just in general, the last few regimes have not been able to get it done. It used to be Super Bowl or bust for the Cowboys. That's true. It used to be. Now, just get to the NFC Championship. Get there.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a step in the right direction. You can't keep hitting your head on the wild card in the divisional round if you're this talented. If you're this talented with a group that's been together for a while, for the most part, same coach for 4 years now, 3 straight 12-win seasons, couple division titles, all these other things, all these accolades, all pros, everything, you know, everybody's going to the Pro Bowl and all these things, but you can't get out of the divisional round.
Yep.
One of those years you got knocked out in the wild card round by the 49ers.
Yep.
Eventually you got to break through. So
last year they lost in the divisional round to the Niners too. Remember, they lost to the Niners in the divisional round. Last 2 years. Yep.
Yeah, last year's lost to the Niners. So, and in my opinion, I think that's the only team right now that's really that the Cowboys are going to have issues with. The Lions, outside shot, but I actually been picking the Rams to beat the Lions this week. The Lions might not even be there, but yeah. If they lose, Mike McCarthy, it's going to be a tough conversation with Jerry Jones. I put it like that. Agreed. I'm not saying he's done for good, like done for sure, but it's going to be a tough conversation if the Cowboys lose to the Packers at home this week.
Especially with Bill Belichick being out there, Chris. Especially with Bill Belichick being a free agent.
But with all hell, Jim Harbaugh's out there. I mean, there's guys out there right now
that
are, Pete Carroll's out. I mean, there's guys out there that are legit Super Bowl winning. And also McCarthy is too, but I would probably take most of those other guys over McCarthy.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to keep it real. Let's be honest. So, can't lose this game. They cannot lose this game.
And I think it's important, Chris. I'm going to be honest. I think it's important for the Cowboys to send a message to the Packers early in the game. Like, I think they need to get off to a nice start against the Packers because I'm going to be honest, Chris, and you know this is true. I know you're going to watch it and you're going to see it. If the game is close going into the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
That's when it could get interesting.
Dak in that offense, they get tight sometimes in close games.
Yes.
I'll give you that. For me, with the Packers, play keep away. Packers, you can run the ball.
Yep.
Keep that offense off the field.
Yep.
And that defense doesn't necessarily want to sit there and stop the run all day. They want to get after the quarterback, right?
Yep.
Dallas's defense. So play keep away. Don't let Dak stay on the field for, 35, 40 minutes in the game. Because if that happens, the Packers probably aren't going to win this game.
Oh, I agree. I think we need to definitely play ball control, run the football with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has been playing well the last 3 weeks, yes. Chris. Yeah, you got to run the football with Aaron Jones. But I just think if it's close in the second half, Packers playing with house money, I could see Matt LaFleur being aggressive and allowing Jordan Love to fling that football and put some pressure on Dallas. I feel like Dallas, if it can go one or two ways. I actually feel like either the Cowboys going to blow the Packers out or the Packers could win in a close one. Either way, it's going to be fun Sunday, man. I'm going to definitely be in contact with you. And I'm going to definitely bring you back on next week, too. And we're going to talk more about it for sure. Give me some of your predictions for the other wild card matchups, starting with the Browns-Texans Saturday afternoon in Houston. What you got, Browns-Texans? You got me a score?
I got the Browns. I'm gonna go with the Browns. I'll go 27-21. I think it'll be fairly close, but Joe Flacco has been on an epic run. It's been a short one, but 5-6 games or whatever it is like that. But his overall postseason record. Now I know it's been a while since he played in the postseason, but he's 10-5, if I'm not mistaken, in his career. And we all want to go back to that run he had with the Ravens when they won it all in 2012. I mean, he was magnificent. I mean, he's shown that he's clutch.
Agreed.
That's how I would say it. Joe Flacco is a clutch quarterback now. And again, I think with the Texans, it's kind of like with the Packers. I mean, even though the Texans are the home team, no one expecting them to win the division this year with a rookie quarterback.
Agreed.
CJ Stroud been killing it, man. Nobody. Oh, if they lose this game, it's almost like, yeah, this is just the beginning, though, right?
Yep.
Now, if they win it, then it's like, oh, we may have the making of, one of the next really good, possibly great teams coming up in the next few years. Even if they don't win this, they can still be that. But I don't think a lot of people are expecting the Texans to win this, one, because of the rookie quarterback. But again, at this point, if you just look at everything, you can't necessarily say that Flacco is just hands down the better quarterback just because he has the experience.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? A big thing for me is the Browns defense. That defense is a problem.
Yep.
That defense is for real. That's what I think they're going to ride. As long as Flacco is not making a lot of mistakes and turnovers, that could ride them, to a potential AFC championship appearance. Is the defense.
Yep. I agree. That defense definitely is elite. They play better at home, though. That Cleveland Browns defense, they play better at home than on the road.
But let's be honest, most teams play better at home.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Most teams. Now, there are some teams that are good on the road and at home, but I mean, for the most part, you're usually going to play better at home. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it goes. That's
usually how it goes. Now, you remember in Week 16, the Browns they beat the Texans 36-22, but there was no C.J. Stroud in that game. It was Davis Mills for the Texans, so it was Mills, not Stroud. Obviously, that's a difference. It's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. What do you got in the Dolphins-Chiefs game in the Saturday night matchup?
I know everybody wants to write the Chiefs off, but this is just how, in my opinion, you're the champs until you're beaten. I don't think the Dolphins beat them this week. Maybe if it was in Miami, I'd give them more of a shot, obviously. But Tyreek Hill has been a little banged up. It's going to be really cold out there. He's known to drop balls even when it's not cold and there's rain or snow. So I could really see the Chiefs get, 35-14, 35-20. I could see, maybe not a complete blowout, but I can see them winning by at least double digits.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, discount that.
Yeah, for sure. I think they said the wind chill, Chris, is going to be it's going to feel like it's minus 23 outside.
Something ugly, man. Like something you don't even want to never know nothing about.
Man, for sure. What you got? Steelers, Bills.
This is a close one because I kind of feel the same way you feel about the Packers Cowboys. I feel like the Steelers, there's a possibility if they keep this game low scoring, the Bills might be in trouble. Now, I think the Bills are going to win the game. I'm not going against the grain like that, but the job that Mike Tomlin has done with this team, there's no way this roster should win 10 games.
Yeah.
No way, in my
Agreed.
opinion. Especially you got the defense in place, but the offense is just not quite there. Now they played better, a little bit recently, but just overall, when you compare their offense to others in even the AFC or just even in really their division of the North, they don't have the same talent. They don't.
I agree. And they don't have a quarterback. Exactly.
I mean, was it 3 quarterbacks this year? But they won 10 games, Trey.
They did. They did. I argue with my cousin all the time, Chris. My cousin's a big time Steelers fan. And I'll be honest, we got this thing where, the young folks, we say teams are trash. I tell my cousin all the time, the Steelers trash. Here they are 10-7. I think, but the reason why I say they trash is because I don't like how they play. I don't like their play style. I don't think, but here we are. Here we go. I don't. It's Mike Tomlin, man.
A win is the same whether you score 13 points or 33 points.
Agreed.
You get one win for that, right? As long as you win, that's what matters. They won 10 games. Nobody coming into the season, people say, oh, yeah, 6, 7, maybe 8 wins for the Steelers. They won 10 games, got into the playoffs. So you got to give them credit for that. But I think it ends this week. Buffalo at home. It's good. It's going to be bad weather there too in Buffalo. Buffalo should win this game.
For sure. Now, obviously, in the nightcap on Sunday, we got the LA Rams and the Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford versus Jared Goff. Both quarterbacks going up against their former teams. Mm-hmm. What are your expectations for Rams Lions, Chris?
Well, I already mentioned it earlier. I got the Rams, man. They've been, 7 of the last 8 games. They were at a point to where they were being written off when they were like, I think 5-6 or whatever it was. They were completely written off. They went into a bye and then they came out and they've just run off, like I said, 7 out of 8 wins. I can see them winning this. Now, Ford Field is going to be rocking. This is the first, I guess, Lions playoff game. They had a Super Bowl there, but first Lions playoff game at Ford Field ever.
Yeah. So, I saw that.
They are going to be rocking. But yeah, I'm going with the hot hand on this one. And I've picked against the Lions before, and their fans usually get at me about it online. So, I welcome it. It's all good. It's all in good fun, all in love. But I think the Rams are going to pull this out because when you get hot late, it's hard to stop that momentum sometimes when the team gets hot late like that. And they're just reeling off win after win after win. It's hard to stop that sometimes, even if they are the road team.
Agreed. I agree. Now, Monday night, we got the struggling Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. So, Jalen Hurts versus Baker Mayfield. Who you got in that matchup?
Struggling is not even the word, honestly, for the Eagles. There's so much coming out of that building right now. With there's reports now that some players on the team might be turning on the head coach, Nick Sirianni. I mean, you got so much coming out of there. It feels like he may have lost the locker room. Now, these are just reports. Who knows if it's true or not, but that's what we're hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Even with that, I'm taking the Eagles to win this game. Now, I think it's going to be close. I don't think the Eagles are in a position to really blow anyone out right now. I don't think AJ Brown playing? I know he got hurt.
He's gonna play. I think he's gonna play. He's gonna go.
Okay, well, he's not. Well, nobody's 100% at this point, but he went down. Looked like he did something to his knee last week, so we'll see how effective he is. And he's been frustrated the last couple months. Yeah, with whether it's with his amount of touches or how the offense is, being run, whatever it is, he has not been happy. He's not as happy as he was last year when they were, doing what they did. And I didn't expect them to be that good last year. This is kind of, what they've done this year is kind of what I really expected last year. Thought they'd be good, but just, not great. So they kind of flip-flopped it on me. But I'm taking the Eagles to win this against the Bucs. The Bucs, in my opinion, overachieved even in a down year for the NFC South. Yeah, overachieved in my opinion. I've never been the biggest fan of Baker Mayfield in the pros. I think he's average, but to me, he played well above average this year. He had a really good season. Able to get them 9 wins? They win 9 games, 9 and 8.
I think they did. Yeah, they went 9 and 8 this year.
9 and 8. So again, not the strongest division, but hey, all you gotta do is win your division and you get in. So
and that defense for the Eagles been awful, Chris. Too, to your point, that they can't stop anybody. They've been awful defensively.
And that was their calling card last year.
Yeah.
Partially was the defense. So, but again, still, I think they're going to do enough to wake up and get it done this week. And then, we see what happens with them next week.
Yes, sir. He is Criss. You can go and let everyone know they can follow you on social media, Criss.
I got it right here under me as well. Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky at Criss Partee. Also catch me on Deadspin every day, writing articles. A lot of stuff on the NFL. I do NBA stuff as well. A little bit of colleges, thrown in there as well. So, I'm all over the place, man.
Yes, sir. He's the writer for Deadspin. He is Criss Partee. Criss, thanks for coming on, and I'm definitely going to bring you on next week, and we can talk more some football for sure. I thank you for coming on this evening.
Oh, you'll be getting a text from me over the weekend. You already know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to be talking for sure.
I'm going to talk to you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Have a good weekend, brother.
You too.
Go and follow my man Criss on all social media platforms. He definitely does some great work for sure.